I think we hear that question so much in terms of does type change? And I think you have to first address it in terms of, is the MBTI a behavioral analysis tool, or is it a type and core personality tool? And the answer is it's about your core type, your personality. So you shouldn't be taking the MBTI, let's say 5 times in a year and getting 5 different results. You're probably answering the question situationally that way. You're probably thinking about a certain situation, or maybe you're wearing the hat of a boss, or you're wearing the hat of a colleague, whatever that might be, or maybe you're stressed out and you might want to actually work with a practitioner in those instances. But I think generally, whether your type actually changes, what we find is it actually doesn't change. And I think that rings true in my life, but I will say with the caveat that you have to be able to connect with who you really are. So for example, when I started taking the MBTI, I was about 16 years old, and I kept coming out with extroversion, with preferences for extroversion. Now that I've kind of come into myself and I've had more time in my career, more time to develop and to understand the theory, I now realize that I have a preference for introversion. But if I go back, I find out that it's because I had environmental pressures from my family to be able to be more of what looks to be this extroverted child. I came from a Latin American family where it was very important for you to be highly social. You had to be constantly on, you had to be constantly talking to people. If we had people coming over, I had to be very gracious, I had to be a really good host, even though what I wanted to do was run and try to have some more private contemplative time. So that actually showed me how type it's not that it really changes, it's just that we have to do a little bit of digging sometimes to get to the core of who we are. Now, there is some research that I think is interesting, that even is work that Carl Jung began around when you enter midlife and later, you actually begin to sort of, I like to say, balance yourself out. So you've been leading with your strong muscle the whole time in your 20s and 30s, and then you start to say, there may be some truth to the other side, the way that other personality types do it. And so you begin to actually develop parts of you that you really haven't been working on for the first few decades of your life. And that's some really interesting research that shows that you begin to develop behaviors indicative or similar to other types, but your true type just doesn't really change.